people use the paleo diet to get slimmer, to feel energized and younger, to get better skin. Well, you'll find out in this episode of Digging In with Dr. Kellyann. Okay, I'm here with my good friend Amy O'Donnell. And today we are talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, the paleo diet. I'm going to take her through all the ins and outs. We're going to learn paleo A to Z and how you can make it fit into your life. What I really want to know is what's going on. How are you feeling? How's things going?
Well, I'm on summer break, so this isn't really a good judge.
How you are all year.
Right, because I have like a short little window left. But when I get back into the grind, I'm a teacher, as you know, it's really hard to stay energized.
It's
hard to feel energy all day long.
So if you look at our rhythms, our circadian rhythms, the rhythms of our body to how it plays out in the 24-hour period, you're going to see this all day. But if you know that those waves are coming and you understand foundational eating, I call it foundational eating, I call it foundational foods, but what it really is paleo. And you've heard me talk about paleo. I beat that paleo drum, paleo. But there's a reason why I do it. Because out of all of the eating and all of the food plans that I've seen throughout my career, which has expanded over 2 decades, as you know, this paleo lifestyle makes the most sense to me, which is why most of the programs that I develop are paleo based. So what we learn in nutrition, and one of the things that the paleo diet does extremely well, is it regulates your insulin, because insulin lays down fats, and insulin makes it very difficult for your brain to function. It takes over and it starts talking. It makes your body start saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Everything goes haywire. One of the best things that you can do is stabilize your blood sugar. So when you are having that dip, what's going on is your body needs something to stabilize its blood sugar. So as soon as that blood sugar is stabilized, it's like a whole new world. You see things very differently.
But it's very important what you eat when you have that dip.
That's why you have to know your safeguards. Right. That's why you have to know these safeguard foods. So when you have that feeling, what's going on is you have to make sure that your body is very sensitive to insulin, not resistant to it. You want your body to be very sensitive to the amount of insulin that's being dumped in your body. So metabolically, that's what's going on. You're creating that situation where your body is very sensitive. Okay, my sugar's starting to get low, and you fuel it in the right way. And that's one of the things I love about paleo. It's one of the biggest things that paleo can do for you is eating that way.
And if you anticipate when you feel like you're going into that dip and you have the paleo food items prepared ahead of time, then that's what you grab for.
That's what you grab for. And it's so much easier. Even simple things like having hard-boiled eggs available.
Right.
And the thing is, you may say, well, that doesn't sound exciting. That's not what I want.
I actually love hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, but the better your body gets and the more systematic it becomes, the more you welcome these things. And it doesn't seem like a hardship at all. So a lot of the foods that we're eating, actually, they're considered newer foods if you look at the science and you understand that there are foods that work better for our bodies. So our genetics, how we are actually built, we're built to eat like our ancestors. Isn't that amazing? The 40,000 years, we're built to eat like our ancestors. So if we can stick to that framework, that we find that we have less internal flame in the body. We find that our blood sugar is regulated. We find that our gut is much healthier when we can stick to those foundational foods. And paleo foods are the foods that are natural. And we know we're supposed to eat natural foods. But if you can make these like the core premise behind what you eat, these lean proteins, healthy, natural foods that you pick from the ground or pick from a tree, healthy fats. These are all core foundational foods, nuts and seeds. And if they make up most of your diet, most of the time, then I find that people are much healthier, they're much slimmer, and they look much younger. They have just beautiful skin.
And they have more energy, I'm sure.
And the energy, it's a game changer.
Right.
Your body can really metabolize and digest these foods really efficiently. And this is really big because a lot of times we're eating things, but we're actually not metabolizing them in the way that we should. Paleo foods, we metabolize very well. And when that happens, we use these foods for energy. And that's what energizes your body. And that's what's going to give you what you feel like you're missing, that extra little spunk that you're looking for. Another great thing about eating paleo is that you're naturally going to start cutting back on your sugar. You're going to shut off that sugar spigot, which is running wild in so many of our diets. And when that happens, your body starts using a different supply for energy. Instead of using all those carbohydrates for energy, it starts using your fat. It starts burning your fat. And so this is really a game changer for people who are trying to slim down. Because when you flip that switch, wow, the magic really starts to happen. I mean, we don't even realize how much sugar we're getting. I mean, 2 slices of whole wheat bread, for instance, it equals a candy bar.
No way.
It equals a candy bar. So we're getting sugar everywhere. Bam, 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 bam. So if we can eat these foundational foods, again, we're eating those lean proteins. We're eating great sources of energy, which is healthy, starchier vegetables. And we're eating fibrous green vegetables. We're eating healthy fats. We're eating nuts and seeds. These foundational foods naturally make that switch happen in your body metabolically, and that revs up your metabolism and helps you burn fat. Okay, let's have some fun here for a minute, because I know you're thinking, Kellyanne, I know you, and this sounds good, but this is not applicable to any fun in life whatsoever. A lot of people feel that way, Amy, and I understand why they feel that way, because there's this natural association. Anything healthy, anything good, it's going to be a culture shock. My life is all of a sudden going to do a 180 and be incredibly boring. Well, again, I want to have some fun because I go out all the time,
Right.
and I'm still eating mostly paleo. Let's get a menu and I'm going to show you. What I'm looking at and what I love is something like oysters.
Okay.
I think oysters are great. They have a lot of minerals in them. And what I love about oysters having all these minerals in them, selenium and zinc, most people are actually deficient in zinc. And zinc is like, I would say it's analogous to like a vitamin D. It's so essential to all the channels engaged in your body and how everything in your body performs. Zinc is elemental. It's absolutely pivotal that you have those levels up. And when you're talking about colds and flus and things like that, you want to make sure you're protected. And zinc is a great way to protect yourself, and they're in oysters in abundance. And then I also love, whenever I see this on a menu, I love that there's octopus here. That's a really good source of protein.
I'll
Again,
try it.
You got to try this one.
Okay.
This is a good one, and we'll see if you like it. It's got grilled jalapeno, chili lime,
But there's a
radish.
wild rice salad.
So what do? So we say to them, can I get the octopus without the wild rice salad?
Okay.
Let's see what they say. I bet that they're going to green light it, because they often do. And then a lot of times you can say, can I just have a little bit more of the grilled jalapeno instead?
Right,
or
right,
something
right.
like
Okay.
that. So
right.
those would
love
be my
jalapeno.
top picks. And so how do you
Sounds
feel?
good. Let's
Good?
go for it.
All right. So shall we dig in?
Let's go for it.
Mm.
It was really good.
Right?
Mm.
You know, paleo is not just about eating a bunch of meat. Paleo diet is actually about eating fresh, natural, unprocessed foods that match what our ancestors ate. That's the gold right there. We have filet mignon, and what I love about a filet is it's just the right amount. It's the right amount of protein, because actually this amount of protein is enough for both of us. Again, The fallacy being that paleo is just about a bunch of protein. It's actually not. And then we see our starchy vegetable here, which is our mashed potato, and our fibrous vegetable, which is our asparagus. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. If you have been eating heavier, or you've had maybe other starchy vegetables that day, or you feel like you don't need it, when you go to a restaurant, instead of the mashed potatoes, opt for 2 vegetables. So
Okay.
another wonderful way to build a plate would be to have the protein and have 2 great vegetables.
Okay.
But if you're saying, you know what, I haven't been eating, that much, I'm feeling a little weak, or I need a little bit of energy, then you want to go for the starchier vegetables.
Okay.
And potatoes are okay. And this, we know how they're prepared. We asked, we know it's nothing but potatoes and some butter. So we
Okay.
know that this is healthy. We know it's okay. We're just not going to eat a whole lot. How hard is it, and be honest about this, to be realistic in your life as a teacher, as a busy mom, how realistic would it be to have these kind of dinners?
Highly unrealistic.
So,
But not out of the question.
but not out of the question. But
No.
could you pick another easier protein
For sure.
and a vegetable that's
Mhm.
quick and
Mhm,
easy?
mhm.
A lot of this is mindset in terms of understanding this is going to be a change. This is going to be a transition.
And willpower.
Willpower, but here's the great thing, that willpower that you need, they call it the white knuckling period, it actually goes away pretty quickly because the learning curve on this is very fast. And
Okay.
it is for most people. So you've got to get the mindset and understand that it's worth it. Remember why you got into it, and that what you're doing is worth it, because it's about being really healthy. And one of the first things, I have to say this again, that people notice when they start eating this way is that their skin starts looking absolutely radiant.
Mm.
It's one of the ways that you know that things start working, and that your belly doesn't, pop out every time you eat a morsel of food, which I've had in my life, and that is so annoying. There is an entirely vast category of paleo foods out there. There is so much variety, so much to pick from, and it's all really good.
Yeah.
So it's made a world of difference for a lot of people, just knowing that they don't have to stick to the same old foods all the time.
So what can I expect to see if I really do stick to this? Like, what are some of my results that if I keep my eye on the prize,
Yep. Got to keep your eye on the prize.
what is the prize for me?
So the prize is this. Most of my patients that I've seen that have started the paleo diet, they have lost a lot of weight, 10 to 15 pounds. And if they stay with the diet, they lose even more. And one of the reasons for that is because grains and sugar, so there is no RDA, or recommended daily allowance, for grains, because we actually don't need them. So the reason why people grab grains a lot is because they want the energy. But if you can give your body other energy supplies, you'll find that you don't need them. And also the sugar, getting off of the sugar. When that happens, your body starts behaving in a very different way. And that's where you're going to get a lot of the energy that you're looking for.
Okay, so I feel really good about this, but can we just review once again, what exactly can I eat on this diet?
Okay, so I want you to think about it in what we call macros, or food categories. I want you to think, what proteins, what vegetables, and what fats can I eat? Because that's the core that we're going to be talking about. What I want you to think about is eggs, beef, lamb, turkey, chicken, even pork. If it's of a high quality, you can even have pork. And next, of course, I'm going to say you've got to drink your bone broth, because there's a reason why I call it liquid gold. It's got all of those good elements. It's as about ancestral and paleo of a food as you can get. You can add 2 servings of fruit a day, which is basically, you're thinking about a serving of fruits, which is basically an open handful.
Okay.
Things like berries are my favorite because they're the best in terms of balancing your blood sugar. You can have 2 servings a day along with the other paleo foods. You don't want to overdose on the fruit, but small doses of this can give you a lot of nutrients that your body is craving, and your brain actually works really well on fruit. You just can't overdo it. And the same goes for nuts and seeds, which are also on the paleo diet. You can't have too much of it, but a serving of fruit is a great way to add crunch to just about anything. It's a great source of fat. So we talked about those cravings and crashes you had. Nuts and seeds are a great thing to grab. We also have to remember all of our healthy fats. Things like avocado oil, coconut oil, ghee, grass-fed butter. They're all great sources of fat. And avocado is one of my favorites. Olive we talked about coconut chips. These are all ways to get that healthy fat in your diet, and that's got to be a part of the whole paleo diet. Contrary to what experts have claimed for years, we now know beyond a reasonable doubt that fat doesn't make you fat. You actually need this fat in your body to burn fat, but the defining factor is it has to be a healthy fat, like we just named. I absolutely dig the paleo diet because I literally wrote the book on it. In fact, I've written 9 books that are all paleo based. That's how much I love it. Even the bone broth diet was very, very latent in the paleo principles that I've learned throughout my career, that it just makes sense that when you eat foods that our bodies are genetically designed to eat most of the time, that's going to come back to you in spades. You're going to have better health. You're going to have better energy. You're going to have healthier thoughts. You're going to have a more fulfilled life. All of these things happen when you start doing things that are natural law. So Amy, I care a lot about you, and this obviously is a topic I care a whole lot about because I've seen so many transformations with the paleo diet that I hope you'll give it a try.
I'm excited.
Okay, one change, even if you can do that 3 o'clock, when you feel that dip, grab
That's
some
my
fats.
goal. That's my goal.
Start there. Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Digging In with Dr. Kelly Ann, and I look forward to seeing you next time.